silence. That's what reigns when it comes to the Sabbath. Most people avoid it, ignore it, or simply consider it an irrelevant detail. But is ignoring the Sabbath really irrelevant? Or is there something much more serious behind this silence? From the beginning, the Sabbath was not a detail. It was a sacred act, set apart by God Himself, blessed, sanctified. And the question that almost no one dares to answer is, what happens to those who abandon this day? Modern churches rarely address this issue. Some because they fear appearing extremist, others because they have simply ceased to consider the Sabbath as relevant. But there is one group that refuses to remain silent, a people who are not afraid to face the truth revealed in Scripture, Seventh-day Adventists. Today, you will understand why this doctrine is so central to them, and why the fate of those who abandon the Sabbath may be more serious than many imagine. Biblical context of Sabbath keeping. The origin of the Sabbath is not found in human tradition, nor in any ancient culture. It comes directly from the Creator even before sin entered the world. And on the seventh day, God finished His work which He had done, and He rested on the seventh day from all His work which He had done. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. Genesis 2:2-3. Before any nation existed, even before Israel, God established the Sabbath as a memorial of creation. It was not a Hebrew custom. It was a divine decree, a blessing sealed by God Himself. And when the Lord delivered His people from slavery in Egypt, He reaffirmed this truth even more clearly. You shall keep my Sabbaths, for this is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. Exodus 31:13. That you may know that I am the Lord who sanctifies you. Exodus 31:16-17. The Sabbath, then, is not just a law. It is an eternal sign between God and His people. It represents loyalty, sanctification, and obedience. While the world pursues its own will, the Sabbath remains a weekly reminder that there is a Creator and that He deserves total priority. And you, what is your opinion on the importance of the Sabbath as a divine sign? Have you ever stopped to reflect on what it means to keep this day holy today? Leave your comment below. We really want to know what you think about this fundamental truth. Modern Christianity and the abandonment of the Sabbath. Over the centuries, the clarity of this truth has been obscured. The Christian faith, which was born among God's people, has been contaminated by human influences and political decisions. In the 4th century, Emperor Constantine, seeking to unify his empire under a common religion, issued a decree transferring the solemnity of the Sabbath to Sunday, the venerable day of the sun. Years later, at the Council of Laodicea, the Church made the change official. Christians should not Judaize by resting on the Sabbath, but should work on that day and honor Sunday as the Lord's day. Thus, Sunday became the new day of worship, not by biblical command, but by ecclesiastical decision. Most churches today follow this model without delving into the spiritual implications of this change. Few ask themselves, did God authorize this? Or, what does it mean to ignore the commandment that He Himself wrote with His finger on stone? The truth is that almost no church faces this reality head-on. They avoid talking about the Sabbath. They ignore its origin. They stifle its importance. But among so many silent voices, one still proclaims what is written: Seventh-day Adventists. What Seventh-day Adventists teach about the abandonment of the Sabbath. For Seventh-day Adventists, keeping the Sabbath is not just a matter of tradition or lifestyle. It is a test of faithfulness. They understand that in the great conflict between good and evil, the Sabbath will be one of the greatest tests of loyalty to the Creator. This understanding is deeply rooted in the writings of Ellen White, one of the leading figures of the Adventist movement. She states that in the last days, the world will be divided into two groups, those who obey God's commandments and those who follow the decrees of men. In her book, The Great Controversy, Ellen White writes, "The observance of the false Sabbath by law and the abandonment of the biblical Sabbath will be a demonstration of loyalty to the power opposed to God." According to this view, the Sabbath is directly related to the seal of God mentioned in Revelation 7:2-3, which identifies those who belong to the Lord. In contrast, the rejection of the Sabbath and the acceptance of Sunday, especially during the final crisis, are associated with the mark of the beast, as we read in Revelation 13 and 14. Ellen White further states that when the Sabbath becomes the focus of the final test, abandoning this commandment will mean a definitive break with the Creator. Thus, Adventists do not view the Sabbath as a simple matter of calendar, but as a spiritual mark that will reveal who stands with God in the darkest moments of human history, the prophetic destiny of those who reject the Sabbath. What is at stake, according to Adventists, is much more than a simple choice between Saturday or Sunday. It is the final spiritual battle between obedience to God and submission to human powers. Prophecy speaks of a critical moment, the Sunday law, a global imposition that everyone must keep Sunday, in disregard of the biblical Sabbath. Those who refuse to follow this law will be persecuted, but those who give in will be accepting the mark of the beast. Revelation 14:9-11 describes in strong words the fate of those who reject God's seal. If anyone worships the beast and its image and receives its mark on their forehead or on their hand, they too will drink the wine of God's wrath. They will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. According to this eschatological understanding, rejecting the Sabbath during this end time will be fatal. It is not just a doctrinal error, it will be a conscious choice against God. That is why Adventists warn, this will not be a neutral decision. The Sabbath will represent more than a commandment. It will be the symbol of whom you choose to obey, the Creator or the impostor. And here is the central point. It is not just about a day, but about whom you decide to obey. If this content is making you reflect, don't forget to like it, leave your comment, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos. And if you want to support our work, consider sending a super chat. Your help makes all the difference. Why other churches? Don't talk about this. Given everything that has been presented so far, an inevitable question arises. Why do other churches avoid this topic? The answer lies not only in biblical ignorance, but often in fear of the consequences. Talking about the Sabbath means confronting centuries of tradition, questioning historical decisions, and challenging the foundation of much of modern Christianity. Many churches avoid this topic so as not to appear radical. They are afraid of being seen as legalistic sects or of losing members who prefer a more flexible faith. It is easier to preach about grace and love than about commandments and obedience. In addition, there is an uncomfortable fact. Many religious leaders know the truth, but prefer to remain silent. They are committed to religious systems that are sustained more by tradition than by biblical fidelity. Jesus already warned about this when he said, "In vain do they worship me, teaching doctrines that are precepts of men." Matthew 15:9. And that is precisely why Seventh-day Adventists stand out. Because even under criticism, ridicule, and opposition, they keep the Sabbath as a non-negotiable pillar of their faith. They are not afraid to appear different, because they know that truth is not measured by the majority, but by faithfulness to the Word. The call to faithfulness, God still waits for a people who are faithful to His sign, and that sign is the Sabbath. It is not a human invention, nor a tradition created by men, but a truth revealed in the Bible since the beginning of creation. Keeping the Sabbath is an act of love, obedience, and commitment to the Creator. It is a spiritual mark that separates those who are truly connected to God from those who choose to follow different paths. Today, in the face of the challenges and pressures of the world, we are called not to follow the majority, but the truth that does not change, that stands the test of time, and that points to the eternal destiny of each one of us. So reflect. Are you willing to be faithful to the Sabbath, even if it costs you? Are you ready to choose the truth, regardless of what the world says? This is the moment of decision, the moment of positioning. Study, seek, pray, and stand firm, because the Sabbath is more than a day. It is the seal of the living God. If this video touched your heart, leave your like and share your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel to receive content that reveals the truth without fear, and activate the bell so you don't miss any important alerts. And if you want to support our work, consider sending a super chat. Your help strengthens our mission to bring this message to many more people. Before you go, make a difference. Share this video with someone who needs to know this truth before it's too late. Thank you for being here. See you in the next video.